I'm intending to speak to President Trump about this matter, but our position has not changed, that the status of Jerusalem should be determined as in a negotiated settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians, and Jerusalem should ultimately form a shared capital between the Israeli and Palestinian states.
For more, let's bring in David Benaim, I24 News correspondent for our French language channel. He joins us in studio, and also with us, Jonathan Sacerdoti, I24 News UK and Europe correspondent. He joins us from London. David, first to you, how is this being received on the French street, as we might say?
No, we don't know yet for the French street. Macron was the first one to react, and he declared very clearly, France does not support the unilateral American decision to recognize Jerusalem. In France, yes, there is troubles that could come because there is a huge Muslim population, and he was actually in Algeria, in Alger, finishing his African tour, so he could not speak, I would say, freely. But yes, there is a huge question in France because there is the BDS movement is humongous in France.
The boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement, as we call it in the States.
Yes, and it could move to something different. We could see like after 9/11 in the US, when they boycott French fries and pour wine in the streets, you could see like a
Did they do that? They poured wine in the streets?
In the US, yes, but they could do but they could do like the same thing, like boycott American product. They could move to these kind of things. The movement is so strong in France that it could happen.
Wow. Well, Jonathan, to you in the UK, Trump is not liked in the UK. I mean, especially after, was it last week where he retweeted a far-right nationalist tweets, anti-Muslim videos. Do you think if this was a different president, it would be more accepted by British politicians?
It's so hard to say whether a different president would have got a different reaction, because this is a move that's so impossible to have been done by any other president. We can't anyone else doing this. Some have suggested, though, of course, that if Barack Obama had done this, people would have reacted favorably. What is sure is that Donald Trump is not that popular in the UK, certainly among the media and the intelligentsia, who seem to take every opportunity they can to speak badly against Mr. Trump. Theresa May, of course, is towing a fine line. Prime Minister seeing Britain out of the European Union. She wants to have good relations with the US. She wants the special relationship to be even stronger in terms of trade in the future. And so when Donald Trump does things which upset Brits at home, she feels rather torn in how severely she can condemn those things.
Jonathan, there is some reporting here in the United States that some Democratic senators, including Chuck Schumer, actually asked President Trump to go even further and declare Jerusalem as the undivided capital of Israel. Instead, he just said, look, this is the capital of Israel, and it's up to the parties to negotiate the boundaries. Could that perhaps then cause this to be a shorter-term story? In other words, the idea of a two-state solution is still out there for people in Europe and around the world who want the parties to negotiate. That hasn't changed.
Well, many here are clear that it's not yet revealed exactly what Donald Trump has in mind here. Is this a one-off stunt? Is it something just to fulfill a promise he made in the campaign? Is it part of a wider plan that he has brewing in the Middle East for some sort of negotiations between the two parties and the wider Arab world? Nobody really knows. And in a way, that's at once the genius of the Donald Trump presidency, as people over here see it, and also the problem with it. Some aren't sure there is a plan behind some of his more extreme actions, and others say there must be, and that this is a stunt which is in order to put pressure on one side or the other, or possibly even both, and maybe even intended to lead other countries around the world to follow suit. And let's not forget that while there has been quite some negative response from most countries around the world, the Czech Republic, fairly quickly after Donald Trump made this speech, said that they too would recognize West Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and that in due course they may consider moving their embassy. And the Philippines also has said that it is going to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Two countries only for now, but others could follow. And this could be a case of Donald Trump leading the rest of the world where they would never have gone had he not have made this statement.
But David, Czech Republic, the Philippines, that's not exactly France and the UK and big European countries.
Yeah, I'm not sure there is a domino effect yet. Like, this is not something we're going to see. France called for a meeting at the UN on Friday morning, along with UK, Italy, Egypt, Sweden, Uruguay, and Bolivia. But France hasn't been leading the peace process for years and years. So this.
Didn't they try though a couple of years ago? It failed miserably.
They did fail miserably, and they do not have any credibility, neither with the Palestinians or the Israelis today.
David Benaim from our I24 News French channel, and Jonathan Sacerdoti, who's a correspondent for us covering the UK and Europe. Thank you both. We appreciate it. Interesting discussion.